Start our session. So, namaste everyone. Welcome to this session of Samadhanatmak Bhautikvad, English Hindi reading session. So, we are at the chapter number 4 and almost completing that. Chapter number 4 actually uh, is quite a essential chapter, gives some important concepts starting from uh, how coexistence is and how it leads to successive manifestations of orders in the nature, right? We also basically understand the unitariness of nature and how the effort, motion, and result, that is Shram Gati Parinam, is at work for attaining the completeness in nature, right? So it also says that each successive order is complementary to the previous order, and the previous order is becoming useful for the next order, and next order actually has the previous order in its fold. So in this sense, the existence is unfolding for uh, its full manifestation, which is possible in human being, which gets established in the seer status, and thereby evidences the knowledge of coexistence in their conduct, and and with that they are able to realize undivided society and universal orderliness, akhand samaj, Sarvabhaum Vyavastha, right? That is the universal human uh, destiny, so to say. So, so in this sense, we say that the existence is itself stable. There is no increase or decrease in existence, and the direction for awakening is definite, right? So this is a gives a very positive view of existence, that it is basically meant for um, uh, human awakening. Okay, so now we are basically we can start where we had left, unless we have any point which we want to discuss. We can then start our further reading. Sanjeev Bhaiya?
I'm just waiting if there are any questions, but there are none. So we can begin. One request, Bhaiya, can you please increase the font size to
Yeah,
125?
yeah, sure. Sorry. Yeah.
I have a problem in reading in small font. Yeah.
जी
So any volunteer for reading the Hindi part? Shilpa Didi?
भैया गुड मॉर्निंग आई कैन आल्सो रीड
हाँ बढ़िया भैया गणेश हाँ गणेश
नमस्ते
भैया आप
नमस्ते
शुरू कीजिए एंड प्लीज रीड 2 पैराग्राफ है ना ये
ओके
शक्तियों से लेके अगला भी साथ में पढ़ दीजिए एंड मे बी स्पेंसर कैन रीड द इंग्लिश पार्ट इफ इट इज ओके स्पेंसर
Yeah, absolutely.
राइट ओके प्लीज गो अहेड
ओके शक्तियों का अर्थात चैतन्य शक्तियों का परावर्तन एवं प्रत्यावर्तन पहचानने एवं निर्वाह करने के अर्थ में सार्थक सिद्ध होता है। पांचों अक्षय शक्तियों का परावर्तन एवं प्रत्यावर्तन जीवन की एक अनुस्यूत क्रिया होने के कारण यह क्रिया स्वयं जीवन संचेतना के नाम से अभिहित है। इसी क्रम में संचेतना अपनी परावर्तन क्रिया में रूप और गुणों को पहचानती है, प्रत्यावर्तन में निर्वाह करती है। इससे स्पष्ट होता है कि संपूर्ण भौतिक और रासायनिक संसार परावर्तन के क्रम में इंद्रिय सन्निकर्ष पूर्वक पहचानने को मिलता है, जबकि मूल्य और अस्तित्व अथवा स्वभाव और धर्म परावर्तन प्रत्यावर्तन में ही पहचानने में आता है। फलतः इसे निर्वाह करने की प्रणाली अपने आप समीचीन होती है। इसका तात्पर्य यह हुआ कि भौतिक संसार का निर्वाह बौद्धिक संसार का निर्वाह एवं पहचान संज्ञानशीलता एवं संवेदनशीलता की संतुलित पद्धति से है। पहचानने और निर्वाह करने की स्थिति समाधान के अर्थ में सार्थक होती है। अगला पैराग्राफ भी हिंदी में पढ़ लेता हूं। हाँ जी। अस्तित्व अस्तित्व में से के लिए ही संपूर्ण अध्ययन है, क्योंकि अस्तित्व समग्र ही स्थिति में नित्य वर्तमान है। अस्तित्व ना घटता है ना बढ़ता है, इसलिए अस्तित्व में से के लिए मानव अध्ययन के लिए बाध्य है, क्योंकि यह अध्ययन मानव को अपने जीवन जागृति का साक्ष्य प्रस्तुत करने के क्रम में अपरिहार्य है। फलतः प्रामाणिकता, प्रमाण और समाधान की स्थिति के लिए तत्पर होना पड़ा। इसी क्रम में निर्भ्रमता की अभिव्यक्ति है, इसकी संप्रेषणा भी होती है। यही मानव परंपरा की गरिमा और सामाजिक अखंडता का सूत्र है। यही शिक्षा व्यवस्था और चरित्र में सामरस्यता के स्वरूप को स्पष्ट करता है। यही अनुभव पूर्ण सह अस्तित्व की विचार शैली एवं जीने की कला के लिए आवश्यक है।
Go to Spencer.
Okay. Projection and reflection of the sentient powers prove meaningful in the sense of recognizing and fulfilling. Since the projection and reflection of all five inexhaustible powers are an inherent activity of Jivan, this activity itself is referred to as Jivan consciousness. In this very progression, Jivan consciousness recognizes form from
Yes,
this. Oh, hello?
Yes, Spencer, we lost your signal for a while, but now it looks okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. From this, it becomes clear that the entire physical and chemical world comes to be recognized in the course of projection through sensory contact, whereas values and existence, or essential nature and dharma, come to be recognized only in reflection. Consequently, the way of fulfilling them comes about naturally. This means that the recognizing and fulfilling of the physical world and of the intellectual world take place through the balanced way of cognizance and sensitivity. Recognizing and fulfilling prove meaningful in the sense of resolution. And scrolling down. The entire the entire study is in existence, from existence and for existence. Because existence as a whole is eternally present, existence neither diminishes nor increases. Therefore, the human being is bound to study in existence, from existence, and for existence. This study is indispensable for the human being in the course of bearing witness to the awakening of Jivan. Consequently, one has to become committed to the state of authenticity, evidence, and resolution. In this very progression, the expression of non delusion takes place. Its communication also. Its communication also occurs. This itself is the basis of dignity of human tradition and the undividedness of society. This itself clarifies the form of harmony between the education system and character. Such coexistence, endowed with realization alone, is essential for a way of thinking and for the art of living. Okay.
Yeah. Ganesh Bhaiya and Spencer, would you like to have any comment, anything on this?
Yes, Vijay, in the first paragraph, basically it is about projection and reflection. Whereas it is also written that both projection and reflections of all inexhaustible powers are inherent activity of the Jivan. These are the activity of the Jivan. But here there is a distinction between projection and reflection in the sense that Jivan consciousness recognizes form and properties through projection activity. So we can see the form and properties, whereas the reflection is basically about the entire physical and chemical words. Sorry, it is about the values and whereas the essential nature of the dharma. So here dharma and values, they are also coming in reflection. So there is a basically that difference, it has been mentioned in this particular paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah, just 1 second. Sorry to interrupt, but this sentence which we just read, first in the first paragraph itself, third or fourth sentence, I don't know. This paravartan and pratyavartan or reflection and projection are a bit confusing. Should it be the other way around? If I see it when I'm reading it, संचेतना परावर्तन क्रिया में रूप और गुणों को पहचानती है, तो परावर्तन में पहचानती है या प्रत्यावर्तन में पहचानती है, और प्रत्यावर्तन में निर्वाह करती है? तो आई वाज थिंकिंग परावर्तन में निर्वाह करती है.
Yes, my understanding was also the same way, but basically the way I reconciled this thing was that uh, basically through senses, through paravartan, you are actually dealing with the form and properties, रूप और गुण के रूप में. और रिफ्लेक्शन प्रत्यावर्तन में बेसिकली उसके स्वभाव और धर्म के साथ में डील कर रहे होते हैं. दैट इज उसका जो स्वभाव और धर्म का जो पहचान है वो एक्चुअली बुद्धि और आत्मा के द्वारा हो रही है. सो प्रत्यावर्तन में स्वभाव और धर्म और परावर्तन में रूप और गुण. बट यू आर राइट, निर्वाह करना जो है फाइनली, अगर हम देख उस
अन्वय
तरह
है.
से देखें तो वो परावर्तन में होता है. बट इफ यू लुक, if you overall try to get the meaning of what is being said, it is basically saying that form and properties are actually dealt in the projection, while uh, the essential nature and dharma are dealt in the reflection. So what we have, the world outside, is a combined form of form, properties, essential nature and dharma, of which form and properties are actually dealt with in the projection. Because finally, in the projection is what you will do with the, as a human being, is essentially will actually manifest your understanding in through your actions. Yeah. Through physically you would be doing something.
So this section which I have just now highlighted, when I'm reading it, I don't know, इसी क्रम में संचेतना अपनी परावर्तन क्रिया में रूप और गुणों को पहचानती है, प्रत्यावर्तन में निर्वाह करती है.
Hmm. Yeah, so I mean, I was actually looking at it that इस रूप और गुण का निर्वाह करती है ऐसा नहीं कर रहा हूं मैं इसको. संचेतना में परावर्तन क्रिया में रूप और गुण को पहचानती और निर्वाह करती है, और प्रत्यावर्तन में स्वभाव और धर्म को पहचानती और निर्वाह करती है. दैट इज हाउ आई हैव इंटरप्रेटेड दिस थिंग.
We'll read it again later on. Please continue. Ganesh भैया, please continue. Sorry for that.
हाँ भैया, जो डेफिनेशंस में भी मैं प्रत्यावर्तन को देख रहा हूँ ना, तो पहले एग्जैक्टली जो आपका डाउट था, मेरा भी डाउट बना था लास्ट 2-3 वीक्स बिफोर. बट नाउ आई कैन सी कि डेफिनेशन में भी प्रत्यावर्तन वही लिखा है कि जैसे कि सत्य, समाधान, न्याय, सहज, मूल्यांकन, स्वीकृति, क्रिया। यानी परावर्तन के आधार पर तो जो पता लगा उसका मूल्यांकन जो है वो प्रत्यावर्तन में हो रहा है, यानी रिफ्लेक्शन इज, आई थिंक, इज द राइट वर्ड. अर्लियर आई वाज आल्सो थिंकिंग अदर वे राउंड, बट एज पर प्रतिभाषा दिस paribhasha sanhita, this is the definition. So still you are right. Earlier I was also thinking other way around.
ठीक है, we'll think more about it
Yes,
later on.
we should
Please
think more
continue.
about this. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And anything anyone else want to add in? I have explained about the first paragraph, and about the second paragraph. It is basically is the study is basically in existence, from existence, and for existence. So during this study, basically it has been written in this particular paragraph that human being in the course of bearing witness to the awakening of Jivan. So the main emphasis is given that once we understand the existence, then we will be knowing more about the awakening. And the word non-delusion is written here. That will happen. So far, without this study, we are living in certain, you can say that in certain uh, वर्ग, जिसको हम बोलते हैं कि वर्ग में जी रहे हैं या समुदाय में जी रहे हैं, एक पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटीज हैं. बट वंस वी अंडरस्टैंड द एग्जिस्टेंस, देन दिस delusion is removed and awakening process starts. So that undividedness is when we understand the existence and the reflection takes place. Spencer, would you like to add to it anything else?
No, I'm not sure I have anything else to add. I need to read it a little bit more. It was a little bit hard to get as I was reading, but I think you've said nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think basically overall we understand that nature has four dimensions, that is form, properties, essential nature, and dharma. And Jivan has the ability to comprehend these four dimensions. These four dimensions basically is what the Jivan actually recognizes and fulfills. In order to recognize and fulfill these four dimensions, it has to perform reflection also. The aspects of essential nature and dharma come into the reflection, right? And finally, the fulfilling or nirvah karna, that actually happens through the projection activities. So Jivan actually projects its powers through the brain, uh, in turn to the body, and that is how their behavior actually comes into uh, their behavior actually manifests through the body. So the projection actually of Jivan leads to the behavior that gets expressed.
Nice, yeah. Good. I think we can move ahead if there are no further comments. Shilpa Didi, you will read the next two paragraphs in Hindi, and maybe
Yeah.
Raghav Bhai can read the English part.
Yes, yes. सह अस्तित्व ही अस्तित्व है. सह अस्तित्व में विकास क्रम, विकास में जीवन घटना और पद, जीवन घटना और पद में जागृति क्रम, और जीवन जागृति में परावर्तन व प्रत्यावर्तन, परावर्तन व प्रत्यावर्तन क्रम में अस्तित्व में अनुभूति, अस्तित्व में अनुभूति क्रम में स्थिति सत्य, वस्तु स्थिति सत्य और वस्तुगत सत्य में मानव के निर्भ्रम होने की व्यवस्था है. यही नियति क्रम व्यवस्था है. अनुभव बल को व्यक्त करने के क्रम में विचार शैली एवं जीने की कला अपने आप में संप्रेषित होती है. यही जीवन वैभव और जागृति का साक्षी है. जागृति पूर्वक ही मानव मूल्यों को अभिव्यक्त संप्रेषित एवं मूल्यांकित करता है। यह महिमा जीने की कला को श्रेष्ठ और श्रेष्ठतर के रूप में प्रकाशित करती है। जीने की कला का स्वरूप जीवन जागृति और उसकी महिमा का स्वरूप स्वयं संबंधों व मूल्यों को पहचानना ही है। इसकी गरिमा का स्वरूप उसके निर्वाह करने में स्पष्ट होता है। यही मानव कुल के संपूर्ण आयामों, कोणों, परिप्रेक्ष्यों और दिशाओं में समाधान और प्रामाणिकता के रूप में जीवन गति है। स्थिति सत्य को सत्ता में संपृक्त प्रकृति के रूप में, वस्तु स्थिति सत्य ही दिशा काल देश के रूप में, और वस्तुगत सत्य रूप गुण स्वभाव धर्म को पहचानने व निर्वाह करने की व्यवस्था मानव में जागृति पूर्वक सिद्ध हो जाती है। प्रत्येक इकाई में रूप गुण स्वभाव धर्म अविभाज्य वर्तमान है। परस्पर इकाई अथवा परस्पर ध्रुवों के आधार पर ही दिशा देश स्पष्ट होता है। साथ ही क्रिया की अवधि में काल गणना होती है। वस्तु की पहचान आकार आयतन घन के रूप में, गुण की पहचान सम विषम मध्यस्थ शक्तियों के रूप में, स्वभाव की पहचान शक्तियों के सद्वय के रूप में होती है। धर्म की पहचान अस्तित्व पुष्टि आशा और आनंद के रूप में स्पष्ट होती है। या मोहन, who's reading next? Yeah.
I will read, yeah. Mohan, okay. So shall I read or Mohan Bhai is reading? I'm a little bit not clear.
No, you read Raghav bhai.
Sure, okay. So coexistence itself is existence. In coexistence, there is progression of development. In development, there is occurrence and plane of Jivan. In the occurrence and plane of Jivan, there is the progression of awakening. In the awakening of Jivan, there is projection and reflection. In the progression of projection and reflection, there is realization in existence. And in the progression of realization in existence, there is an orderliness by which the which the human being becomes free from delusion with regard to existential truth, situational truth, and objective truth. This itself is the orderliness of destiny progression. In the course of expressing the strength of realization, the way of thinking and the art of living are naturally communicated. This is the grandeur of Jivan and the testimony of awakening. Only upon awakening does the human being express, communicate, and evaluate values. This magnificence reveals itself in the form of progressively superior art of living. The essence of art of living and the awakening of Jivan together with its magnificence is nothing but recognizing relationships and values. Its dignity becomes evident in their fulfillment. This itself is the progression of Jivan in the form of resolution, authenticity across all dimensions, angles, perspectives, and directions of human race. Upon awakening, the orderliness for recognizing and fulfilling essential truth as natural, as nature saturated in omnipotence, situational truth as direction of time, place, and objective truth as form, properties, essential nature, and dharma becomes established in the human being. Every unit possesses form, properties, essential nature, and dharma inseparably. Direction and place become evident only in the basis of mutually related units and mutually related poles. Time is measured through duration of activity. Form is recognized in terms of shape, expanse, and volume. properties are recognized in terms of generative, degenerative, and mediative powers. Essential nature is recognized through right utilization of these powers. Okay. And dharma is recognized in the form of existence, growth, hope, and bliss. Yeah, I mean, interesting. I mean, I think it is very nice set of paragraphs. Okay, so my understanding over here in the summary is basically through projection and reflection, humans would be able to understand one point, and then we will be free from delusion with regard to the kinds of truths that are taught: existential, situational, and objective. And only upon awakening, human will be able to express these things very clearly and express them and communicate them very clearly and be able to evaluate them. One interesting fact is uh, it's being compared to an art over here. So this right. So basically, so living is an art is being focused here. So it is beautiful in a sense, like art is beauty kind of a thing. Um, and if you come down, first time I saw beauty kind of a thing come up here. So the at least in this pair understanding. The okay. So okay, so the art of living is nothing but how we recognize all the relationships and values and and ability to fulfill them with dignity, right? So that seems to be and progression in Jivan is in the form of resolution across all dimensions. So basically, fulfilling across all dimensions is what is being talked about, and detailed description about what are the different kinds of truth. Okay, so this is so basically the existential truth is of course the omnipotence, nature of saturated and omnipotent. The situation is the context in which this is happening, the current context of our place, which is basically the current place, time, and direction. The objective truths is form, properties, essential nature, and dharma. So if you see, one thing that I understood is all the form, properties, nature, and dharma, which means that it is structural in nature, right? It is nothing but generally form and nature are tied to the structure of the system that is being built, because objective truth is what is structure is creating, right?
Yes.
So we have to relate the nature and dharma from the structure of things, and structure of things is definite, right? So something, it is not left to some evaluation of or something else, but it is built into the structure. That's how we need to understand and derive the essential nature and dharma. Form and are clear, form and properties are a little bit more clearer than these two aspects, but there is no other way than to understand the whole structure and progression and derive the essential nature and dharma for our understanding. That's what I could understand. And if you see the next two paragraph statements, Rakesh, if you just down below, uh, um, and then the way of recognizing them has been told here, and the essential nature. I'll concentrate on these two parts. The essential nature is recognized through the right utilization of these properties. I mean, properties are basically how we, these properties are derived based on whether they are generative, degenerative, and mediative powers. And based on these powers of recognizing the properties, we try to recognize the essential nature of things on how we use these properties in a rightful way. And dharma is now recognized as a way in which these essential nature can be expressed in such a way that there is overall growth, existence is sustained, and there is hope and bliss in the system. That's how I could, very fundamental paragraphs as I understood.
This is very good. Yeah. Didi, would you like to say anything, Shilpa Didi?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed like reading this page and how the flow is coming from the previous paragraphs. So like starting from Jivan Sanchetna, what is that? Then Pratyavartan, Paravartan, projection, reflection, and how the balance of that is what is going to like make the humans awakened, and then coming on to existence, and then so now in these two paragraphs that we read, so is coexistence is existence. And then I really like this section that seh astitva mein vikas kram. So then the author Babaji talks about the flow of everything. So in coexistence there is vikas kram, in vikas there is jivan ghatna, jivan happens, then the plane gets established. In that plane, that is awakening. Then in that awakening, there is projection and reflection. And in that, then you experience the existence as it is. And in that, then what is to be known ultimately is Sthiti Satya, Vastu Sthiti Satya, and Vastugat Satya. So these are the three truths to be known for to be in Nirbhram or non-delusion. And this is really the entire thing, so I found this like really nice, like how if everything is flowing. And as Bhaiya said, Raghav Bhai, that art of living. So here the author is talking of art of living, which was touched in the previous paragraph also. That living is an art. So this is also very nice that we think art is in different things we do, but just to live is the highest art. So here the author is talking about that. And then when one is awakened, then मूल्यों की अभिव्यक्ति, संप्रेषित, मूल्यांकित. So we are able to express, communicate, evaluate our values. And then he goes on in the next paragraph again to elaborate on जीने की कला. So संबंधों व मूल्यों को पहचानना, this itself is जीने की कला. And this is the magnificence, the garima, the to nirvah karna. This is all that is for the human, the highest thing that can be achieved. And then he talks about the three truths. So then he elaborates on them, that Sthiti, Satya, and all that. So that is given very well. So I think really nicely, how the whole flow is coming, and in each paragraph, more things are opening up. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Very nice, Shilpa Didi and Raghav Bhai. I think you have neatly covered pretty much what I wanted to say. Basically, in the just to highlight on these three levels of truth that Babaji talks about, it Sthiti Satya or uh, the what we call existential truth. So that we know is that something which is common to all that actually exists. Okay, so that is nature saturated in omnipotence. So it is the fundamental truth or the existential truth. On top of this existential truth comes the objective truth, that basically how the nature, as Raghava used the word structure, how the nature is structured, right? So which is basically, it talks of the four dimensions in which the nature actually is structured. That is the how the objective truth, which is roop gun swabhav, the form, properties, essential nature, and dharma. These are the four dimensions that describe any unit of nature. That so now we see that there is, while nature saturated in omnipotence is the common thing across all that exist. Here actually we can see there are actually distinctions. There are distinctions of uh, form, properties, essential nature, and dharma. And finally, when it comes to situational truth, which means basically is instantiation of the specific of these objects. Like for example, there is uh, for all humans are would be having the form, properties, essential nature, and dharma. But there are going to be individual human beings also, right? So that also is a truth. Like for example, that is that I am there, Sanjeev Bhaiya is there, Shilpa Didi is there. Each one of us is an individual truth. That is our situational truth. right? We are at a particular place, time, direction, right? So that is the instantiation of a particular object. So objective truth, situational truth, and um, existential truth. These three truths actually describe the entirety of the nature. So yeah.
Yes, yes, Rakesh.
Very nice, Bhaiya. Should we go ahead?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have
sorry, भैया, can you just briefly say more like धर्म की पहचान अस्तित्व, पुष्टि, आशा और आनंद के रूप में स्पष्ट होती है. Can you just say a little bit more on that?
Padarthavastha, the material order, has the dharma of existence. The biological order or pranavastha has the dharma of existence and growth. And um, the animal order has the dharma of existence, growth, and the hope to live. And Jnanavastha or knowledge order has the dharma of existence, growth, hope, and happiness. Live, bliss is another word for happiness. So it's saying that this is what their existence is anchored on, right? This is what cannot, this is, dharma is something from which an entity cannot be separated. That is their anchoring onto the existence. So dharma actually is the anchor. To manifest, to express dharma is the swabhav, and so to express swabhav is the properties. To express give to give a form to the properties is the form or the roop. So if you look at it, dharma is the essence of every unit of nature, right? So that is the basically is the defining trait of 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 the thing. So if you look at it, coexistence is the mool dharma or the fundamental dharma of all the units of nature. Then within uh, coexistence is existence. So what the first thing that basically is happens is in material order, uh, existence cannot be removed. Existence, there is the units are indestructible. So that to manifest this indestructibility, you actually have their uh, swabhav, essential nature of integration, disintegration, right? And then actually because nature has the natural emergence towards completeness comes about the biological order or the pranavastha, where the dharma apart from existence becomes growth. Now to manifest growth, the nature or the essential nature or swabhava becomes sarak marak. And for that, the properties and form actually come emerge accordingly. And in the same way, basically then comes the animal order, where apart from existence and growth, the hope to live is something which gets added, right? And to manifest that, they have the nature, right, of cruel and cruel, where there are actually carnivores and herbivores, right? We see those nature of animals where the consciousness begins to manifest. Now then comes the next thing is the human being, right? And then humans actually manifest their nature. First as animals only, they try to live as Pashumana or Rakshasmana. And eventually they actually attain their humane nature by studying existence and thereby realize the harmony. To understand existence, these four dimensions, form, properties, essential nature, and dharma, it is important to see how they are actually established and what is the successive way in which their emergence is happening, right? So yeah, that much about from me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Very nicely you from Dharma, how lower down. I liked how you explained that. Yeah, thank you.
So it's important to actually see that dharma is not an afterthought. Dharma actually leads to swabhav, swabhav leads to gun, gun leads to form, not the other way around, right? So dharma is not built on top of form, properties, etc. So structure does not lead to function, function does not lead to nature. It is the other way around. Dharma leads to nature, nature leads to properties, properties lead to form, right? And these four aspects are inseparable in every unit.
Yes, Rakesh. So basically, if I just concentrate on this bliss aspect of human dharma, right? So
Yes.
I was trying to understand this thing is we have to organize ourselves in our families, in our societies, and so on and so forth, in order to get bliss, right?
Right.
That's how I was trying to understand. So you have to put how to get bliss in achieve bliss, right? For example, I do something. For example, in my vyavahar, I have to see, am I contributing towards establishing bliss in somebody else? So that would require evaluation and resolution. I mean, evaluate it from that perspective, and then see how I am contributing to any relationship that I have recognized, and then see how I am contributing to the overall bliss in establishing bliss in me and the other person, right? So
Yeah,
the,
not just bliss in you and the other person. Bliss actually becomes the underlying goal or the anchoring of the whole human society. So
the
that
structuring
becomes the
principle, right?
basis of
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
how the human society needs to be structured and needs to be how they need to basically establish their systems, etc. Because that is their fundamental essentiality, yeah, which defines them. Yeah.
yes, yes. So it's more. So it's like driving the all the activities and vyavahar on how to get, and then all the definitions and structures will come out of this particular thing if you think about it. Actually, this single word is what I'm thinking. How do you
Yeah.
establish, right? You have to recognize the relationships. You have to understand how I am related. We need to have that jnana, I mean, that cognizance, right? Not based
Hmm.
on sensitivity, but cognizance. How do I establish bliss? So if you start from this word and think back as a structuring principle, I
Yeah.
think it is very powerful.
Right. Yeah, that is the key idea. Yeah. This is one of the dialogues, the Samvad Babaji said that मानव का अध्ययन सुख के अर्थ में है और किसी अर्थ में नहीं है। दैट इज अगर सुख हमको समझ में आ जाए लेकिन मानव का अध्ययन ना हो, या मानव का अध्ययन हो जाए ना हो और सुख हमको समझ में आ जाए, ये हो नहीं सकता। सो सुख और मानव धर्म ये दोनों अविभाज्य है। दैट इज सो ह्यूमंस नीड टू बी स्टडीड फॉर हैप्पीनेस, एंड हैप्पीनेस नीड्स इज essentially about human study of human being. कृष्ण भैया।
नमस्ते भैया।
बिहार।
ये जब हम फिर यहाँ पर जब धर्म की बात कर रहे हैं और ज्ञानावस्था या मानव की बात कर रहे हैं, तो इसमें जो स्वभाव की बात है, तो अगर सुख धर्म है और अगर इसको हम सहज चित्त के साथ या इस वो निरंतर सुख के साथ जोड़ के रखते हैं, तो फिर स्वभाव में धीरता, वीरता, उदारता, दया, कृपा, करुणा
हम्म।
ही बचेगा। और फिर गुण में
हम्म।
मध्यस्थ गुण ही बचेगा। सम और
हम्म।
की एक तरह से मानव के रेफरेंस में फिर मूल्यांकन हो जाएगा, उसकी कोई रिक्वायरमेंट नजर नहीं आती है। बाकी अवस्थाओं में ये नजर आता है, तीनों अवस्थाओं में।
बिल्कुल।
ऐसा ठीक है भाई?
कि में बिल्कुल उनका एक्चुअली इफ यू सी देयर नेचर हैज पोलैरिटी, है ना। सारक है तो मारक भी है, संगठन है तो विघटन भी है ना, क्रूर है तो अक्रूर भी है। While if you look at human nature, they actually get established in Madhyas. Dhirta, Virta, Udarta do not have the opposites. Okay. In their so they are actually established nature in Madhyas. So that is there in the nature apart from humans, there is actually balance of the opposites. Okay. And the mediation actually happens automatically. While in humans, the mediation is happens through knowledge, realization in knowledge,
Yes.
right?
यस उन तीनों में तो व्यवस्था के अर्थ में ही है, सम विषम और
हाँ,
सम।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
मानव में देखें तो फिर मध्यस्थ ही व्यवस्था के अर्थ में है, तो विषम से सम और सम से फिर मध्यस्थ तक पहुंचना ही वो जागृति और फिर जागृति पूर्णता है।
बिल्कुल
जी,
ठीक
ठीक,
बात है।
थैंक यू।
बढ़िया भैया, बढ़िया। आगे बढ़ते हैं। And I'm glad to see भैया, lot many more people have joined. Vandana Didi is there, Sheila Didi is there, Shailendra Bhai is there. So good, welcome everyone. Vandana Didi, are you in a position to do you want to read the next couple of paragraphs?
Yeah, bhaiya, I can read.
जी जी।
Even
So maybe what you can do is you read the Hindi part and Mohan Bhai can read the English part, next two paragraphs.
Yeah, sure, भैया। हाँ। सभी को नमस्ते।
नमस्ते दीदी।
हाँ, अस्तित्व, स्थिति और इकाई के किसी आयाम को भुलावा देना स्वयं अज्ञान का ही द्योतक है। अज्ञान स्वयं समस्या और कलेश का द्योतक है। प्रत्येक मानव जागृति को स्वीकारता है। जागृति परावर्तन और प्रत्यावर्तन का सफल स्वरूप है, अर्थात समाधान एवं प्रामाणिकता का स्वरूप है। ऐसी सामरस्यता रूप और गुणों की सीमा में परिपूर्ण नहीं होती। इसलिए मानव को प्रत्येक इकाई के रूप, गुण, स्वभाव, धर्म अविभाज्य रूप में जानने, मानने और पहचानने और निर्वाह करने की आवश्यकता है। इसी क्रम में मनुष्य पहचानने और निर्वाह करने के क्रम को अस्तित्व में विकसित करता आया है। अभी भी कई बिंदु पहचानने, निर्वाह करने के लिए शेष हैं। फलतः अस्तित्व समग्र और अस्तित्व में समग्र विकास को पहचानने की आवश्यकता और स्थिति समीचीन है। इस प्रकार अस्तित्व समग्र और संपूर्ण इकाई नित्य शुभ और सफल है। शुभ और सफलता का तात्पर्य सर्वतोमुखी समाधान और प्रामाणिकता से है। यह अवसर अथवा ऐसा पावन अवसर प्रत्येक मनुष्य में से के लिए समीचीन रहता है, क्योंकि जो था नहीं वह होता नहीं। जागृति क्रम में भी प्रत्येक मानव अपनी क्षमता, योग्यता, पात्रता को संप्रेषित और अभिव्यक्त करता है। यही प्रकाशमानता का भी तात्पर्य है। प्रत्येक इकाई प्रकाशमान है ही। प्रकाशमानता स्वयं प्रतिबिंब और निबिंब प्रक्रिया और प्रणाली होने के कारण यह प्रत्येक इकाई की स्थिति में वर्तमान रहता है, क्योंकि अस्तित्व में ऐसी कोई इकाई नहीं जिसका वर्तमान ना हो। मानव अस्तित्व में अविभाज्य इकाई होने के कारण इनका वर्तमान स्थिति सहज सिद्ध है। मानव में अपनी गरिमा, महिमा और वैभव को परंपरा के स्रोत बनाए रखने के क्रम में जागृति, उत्प्रेरणा समीचीन रहती ही है।
Actually, on later thought, Vandana Didi, there is only one small paragraph remaining and then this chapter is over. So maybe you may as well read that also and
श्योर भैया। इसलिए जागृति पूर्वक ही मानव में सामाजिकता को पहचानने और मानवीयता को चरितार्थ रूप देने की अनिवार्यता सतत विद्यमान है। अस्तु मानव सह अस्तित्व को प्रकाशित करना ही समाधानात्मक भौतिकवाद, व्यवहारात्मक जनवाद और अनुभवात्मक अध्यात्मवाद सहज सूत्र और व्याख्या का स्वरूप है। यह नित्य स्रोत, मध्यस्थ दर्शन, मध्यस्थ क्रिया और मध्यस्थ जीवन सहज महिमा ही है। जो स्वयं मध्य दर्शन का स्वरूप है। इससे ही अभ्युदय यानी कि सर्वतोमुखी विकास, अध्ययन सुलभ, व्यवहार सुलभ और अनुभव सुलभ होने का संपूर्ण तथ्य आपके सम्मुख प्रस्तुत है।
Over to Mohan bhai.
In this way,
Just 1 minute. Did we read this? I think we need to start from overlooking this
yes, yes.
जी, जी.
Overlooking an existential state or any dimension of a unit is itself indicative of ignorance. Ignorance, in turn, is itself indicative of problems and affliction. Every
Affliction.
human affliction, yes. Every human being accepts awakenings. Awakening is the successful form of projection and reflection. That is, it is the form of resolution and authenticity. Such a harmony is not complete within the purview of form and properties alone. Therefore, the human being needs to know, believe, recognize, and fulfill every unit together with its form, properties, essential nature, and dharma as an inseparable whole.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's fun.
In this very progression, the human being has been developing the process of recognizing and fulfilling in existence. Even now, many aspects are yet to be recognized and fulfilled. Consequently, the necessity and appropriateness of recognizing existence as a whole and the holistic development within existence become evident. Thus, existence as a whole and every unit are eternally auspicious and successful. Auspiciousness and success signify all-around resolution and authenticity. This opportunity, indeed, this precious opportunity, remain available in by and for every human being because that which never was never comes to be. In progression of awakening, every human being communicates and expresses their capacity, ability, and receptivity. This is also the meaning of radiance. Every unit is indeed radiant. Since radiance itself is the process of system of image propagation, pratibimban bimban, it remains present in the state of every unit. This is because there is no unit in existence that does not have a continued presence. Since the human being is an inseparable unit in existence, its continued presence is naturally established. In the course of sustaining one's dignity, magnificence, and grandeur as the source of tradition, awakening and inspiration naturally remain close by. Therefore, the necessity for humans to recognize sociality and actualize humanness through awakening remains ever present. Manifesting coexistent is the natural foundation and explanation for resolution-centered materialism, behavior-centered public discourse, and realization-centered spiritualism. The eternal source of this lies in the magnificence of the mediative omnipotence, mediative activity, and mediative jivan, which together embody the essence of Madhyasa Darshan. Through this, all the facts for attaining the all-around development, abhidhyaya, have been made accessible to you through study, behavior, and realization. May the earth be heaven, may humans be deities, may dharma prevail, may goodness be eternal. That's the end of the chapter. That's good. Vandana,
would you like to make some observations?
yeah, again, the first paragraph, that's what I noticed is, awakening is described as the successful integration of projection and reflection, representing a state of resolution and authenticity. The state of harmony transcends the limitation of mere physical form and properties. And then there are about three key concepts. The danger of ignorance, forgetting any part of existence or its units constitutes ignorance, which inevitably leads to turbulence and problems. And the path to fulfillment is to avoid ignorance. Human must know, believe in, recognize, and fulfill every entity. And then the holistic recognition. Every entity must be understood as inseparable from its form, properties, instinct, nature, and dharma. And the next paragraph, I was looking at it, is the process of human recognition and fulfillment is an ongoing evolution aimed at achieving perpetual well-being and success. This journey involves acknowledging the entirety of existence and pursuing holistic development, which leads to a state of comprehensive resolution, authenticity. And the key concepts are the radiance, which defined as the natural communication and expression of humans' capacity, ability, and receptivity during the progression of awakening. The source knows that every unit in existence is inherently radiant and possesses a presence maintained through successful mirroring. And then the inherent inspiration. Humans are naturally driven to attain and sustain their dignity, magnificence, and grandeur, which are embedded within the human condition. Then the ever-present opportunity, because existence is constant, the opportunity for this recognition and fulfillment is always available for every human. And the last one is, the source, the framework for human awakening and actualization of humanness through the recognition of sociality. The system known as Madhyasa Darshan, it is built on several key concepts. Foundation of coexistence, manifesting coexistence serves as the natural basis for three pillars: resolution-centered materialism, behavior-centered public discourse, and realization-centered spiritualization. And then the mediative sources. The essence of Madhyasa Darshan lies in mediative omnipotence, mediative activity, and mediative jivan, which serves as the eternal source for this understanding. And then finally, path to development, abhyudhyaya. Comprehensive development is made accessible to humans through three distinct channels: study, behavior, and realization.
Very nice. Vandana Didi, would you like to say anything?
I think Mohan has said it very well. So I don't have anything other than that to add. So I'll give it to both then.
Gee. Yeah, I think the chapter in a way completes with this concluding three paragraphs, which basically kind of summarize this thing. So one of the thing that where my attention goes is the aspect the how the entities recognize one another, right? So this is something which darshan gives its own concept, that the units actually recognize one another because they are, each unit is radiant, हर इकाई प्रकाशमान है, and they are uh, they have the image of one another, and this image is not something which is in motion. It actually also in a way means that light is not something that travels, right? It says that the image of the unit is already present in the unit that is in front of it, and they basically recognize and fulfill. So this is the basis for by which the emergence of nature takes place. The omnipotence or the satta is available to all the units, which makes it possible for all the units to be have the image of one another, and they respond to that image based on their status in the existential progression. So this is the basic idea of pratibimban, uh, or the image propagation, right? That is something, there is another chapter in this same book where we will discuss that in some detail. Yeah, but just thought that basically, if you look at the key ideas which need to keep in mind while as we go into further chapters, one is the coexistence, uh, second is the emergence of four orders, third is the complementariness, and then the consciousness, uh, the completeness drive that is there. Yeah. So I think the chapter is a rather loaded one. It requires multiple readings to get the essence of the idea. But I'm glad that we could walk a few steps on that together.
Very nice.
Shilpa Didi?
Yeah, bhai, I just wanted to ask in this line, जो ये अवसर अथवा ऐसा पावन अवसर प्रत्येक मानव में से के लिए समीचीन रहता है फॉर समाधान एंड प्रामाणिकता, तो लाइक ही सेज क्योंकि जो था नहीं वो होता नहीं, सो आई मीन व्हाई इज दिस रिटन हियर, लाइक डज इट मीन कि मतलब व्हाट समाधान इज ऑलवेज देयर, और लाइक आई मीन व्हाई इज दिस रिटन हियर, लाइक क्योंकि जो था नहीं वो होता नहीं.
Yeah, it means that this existence basically was there even before Madhyas Darshan came about, or even when humans happened. Existence always is there, like it is the eternal presence. And even the person who is deluded, the awakening is always close by to that person. Babaji used to say it's like flip of the coin. Other side is awakening, this side is delusion. इधर भ्रम है तो उधर जागृति है. तो जो था नहीं वो होता नहीं है. So it means existence में awakening है ही, मानव के पास में है ही, and if they basically deploy their resources for understanding existence, the awakening is always close by.
Okay,
When I
thank you.
was reading it, yeah, as a, like the way I was interpreting it is that the sentence talks about this opportunity. So this opportunity has also been always there. It has
Yeah,
been
it's
at
always.
hand. It has been close by. We don't have to sort of, create that opportunity or make that opportunity. The opportunity has always been there.
जी,
I don't
right.
know. Yeah.
Right. So basically, in terms of all the resources, that need to be there for humans to understand, they have always been there, right? Yeah. So it's just that they have not paid attention to that. And their focus has not gone into that. So they can always pay the attention to that reality and achieve the awakening. Yeah. So we can actually come to the next chapter, which is the अस्तित्व में परमाणु का विकास. In one sense, this chapter dovetails into the previous one. It gives further detail.
Just one point here. In the printed book, there is a diagram here when the
अच्छा,
chapter is changing. Okay.
okay, I have missed that drawing
Yeah.
here.
So I have forwarded you that diagram in on WhatsApp. Maybe, or if you want, I can share it, and maybe for the sake of
Yeah,
completion, or I can
yeah,
share it on this screen, whatever you.
yeah, yeah. Can you please do that,
Yeah.
please?
Dev bhai, can you give me the sharing permission?
जी भैया
Wow, this is nice.
Okay. So I once prepared it, and
Yeah, why don't you actually explain this one as we are at it?
एक्सप्लेनेशन आपकी तरफ से आ जाएगा तो अच्छा है. I can briefly run through it. In the meantime, you can look at it because you are also, like in this shape in with translation and all, you are looking at it right now with everyone. Uh, So there are three circles here actually, and I found this diagram very, very interesting. परमाणु में विकास वाला. So at the bottommost circle, what we are calling is that padarthavastha to pranavastha cycle is there, which in English we are saying cycle of physico-chemical reaction. Okay, so from the material we have plants, and then which is material, plants, and it includes animal bodies and human bodies. Okay, so this is the cycle of pran chakra, or cycle of physico-chemical realm. Then here the first irreversible transition or sankraman occurs, which is a progress. So the title of the diagram is Astitva mein Parmanu ka Vikas, development in atom, in existence. So this is the first development, that this physical atom actually becomes Gathanpurn or constitutionally complete, and becomes the conscious entity, conscious atom, जिसको हम बोल रहे हैं. Now, the second circle, the middle circle, this is the Pranpad Chakra, or the cycle of delusion play. Okay, so गठन पूर्णता हो गई है, लेकिन क्रिया पूर्णता नहीं हुई है अभी. So here we have the Chaitanya Parman. Okay, so here, like from Jivavastha or from the animal order till the deluded human being, this cycle is there. So up and down, there is a movement in this. In the first one, the cycle is only from material to the physico-chemical bodies, and then reverse back to the material. Now, the second transition is Kriya Purnata, where awakening happens. All the 10 activities in Jivan get completed. So then the next one is Dev Pad Chakra, which is the cycle of godly realm, where humans, Manav, Manviya Manav, and Dev Manav, they come. So Manav and Dev, Manav to Dev Manav, and Manav, this cycle is there. And then beyond this third circle upwards, what we get is Divya Manav ya Divya Pad, which is the divine realm or divine humans. Okay, so this is the Acharan Purnata, ya Jagriti Purnata, which is conduct completeness or awakening completeness. So this is the description, the way I interpreted it, and I put the English words in this. And the interesting thing, Bhaiya, which I realized, when studying this and interpreting it and thinking about it, most of the time in the deluded human beings, the activity throughout the life is focused on the physico-chemical world. So, so Parmanu, like, I mean, we make bridges, we make buildings, we make aeroplanes, we make rockets, okay, we make laptop. So all that is in the bottommost circle only, because whatever we make eventually becomes material, goes back to the material state itself. Okay. Uh, so the life is focused on that. While in existence, the development is not the making of these things, basically these objects for human use, but the development is actually in the consciousness part, in the sentient part. तो जो परमाणु में विकास है ना, वो गठन पूर्णता के बाद में अपनी चैतन्य इकाई में जो डेवलपमेंट लाना है, दैट इज द पर्पस, उसकी तरफ ध्यान जाता है. So then we start focusing on the upper two circles and beyond into the bigger. So this is in brief, Bhaiya, how I looked at it, and I wanted to run through it with you so that you can have a, because I just shared it with you. आप अपने तरीके से describe करेंगे तो that will be good.
Yeah. Ganesh Bhaiya, want to say something?
हाँ यस भैया, मेरा क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे ये हो रहा है कि जो ये कंस्टिट्यूशनल कंप्लीटनेस है, व्हेन इट हैपेंड, हैज इट हैपेंड अलोंग विद during this process of moving from material order to that plant order, or it already existed before, like atom exists in the nature? So was like that, or it happened something else? So how this constitutional completeness? Please put some light on that.
जी भैया. Okay, so we'll try to understand this thing. So there, basically, one of the thing that is being said is that there are two realities. One is omnipotence or satta, and second is the nature. Nature is in the form of units, and the units of nature, the basic form of unit is the atom, which is in, when we say atom as the fundamental unit, our intent is the fundamental unit of orderliness is an atom. The atomic particles are not called units because they are not actually having the mediative activity to exhibit orderliness. Only when in the atom that you have the nucleus performing the mediative activity or madhyasth kriya can we have the definite conduct defined, the conduct of an entity defined. Other thing that is being said over here is that development happens in the nature. So nature is not flat, right? But actually has uh, successive development. And this development of nature happens at the level of atom. And first level of development is the constitutional completeness, where it is an irreversible transition from insentient to sentient, right? So that is one irreversible transition. Second irreversible transition is when basically, which is called activity completeness, when this jivan actually attains the complete understanding of existence and all its activities become aligned with that realization. That is called activity completeness. And the third is the transition when this understanding, it is able to establish that understanding into the tradition, that or it is able to manifest all its understanding in its conduct. So that is called the third level of transition, which is the acharan purnata or conduct completeness. Now, uh, these three transitions also define the three cycles or pad chakra, right? Or the planes of existence. So the first is the pran pad chakra, or the physico-chemical realm, as Bhaiya has called it. So it is the where basically all the material nature is there. And why it is called the cycle? Because here the material nature has growth and turns into biological order. Biological order decomposes back into the material order. But there is no real development really happening here, right? Because it is converting it. It is a cycle in which it remains insentient, right? It looks like development. The plant looks like development over compared to soil and stone, but actually it is not, right? the real development is actually recognized in the form of becoming sentient. Then basically, you see that the next cycle is when the consciousness actually starts getting expressed. The sentience gets start expressed. So that we see the beginning of it in animal order, and also the deluded human order. The thing that is common between animals and deluded human order is that Jivan is identified with the body, right? Yeah, in humans, basically uh, there is an increased um, uh, increased capability than humans, than animals, but still at the level of consciousness, they are the same as animals. Right? So that is why basically they are put into the same plane, and it is possible that human Jivan can take birth as an animal also, and also the animal Jivan can take birth in the form of a human. So that is a kind of a cycle that is there, as which is called the delusion plane or the delusion realm. After that comes the second transition, irreversible transition or sankraman, which is called the kriya purnta or activity completeness. This is upon realization in coexistence, realization in the nature, when all the activities of jivan becomes aligned with that realization. And then one comes into the state of Devpad Chakra, or the uh, deific realm, or the godly realm, as has been called. So it is basically the the when one that the humaneness or deific humaneness basically starts getting is manifested, right? So this is the way that the humans actually lead a social life, right? They start becoming social, they becoming more uh, instead of harming one another, exploiting one another, they start living in the state of mutual nurturing and support, and start becoming organized, right, in a humane way. And after that, the final transition, as we discussed, it is about the conduct completeness, when it basically uh, one becomes able to transmit one's understanding into the tradition. Right. So basically, this is the this is the question. Now coming to question of Ganesh Bhaiya, my understanding of this uh, atomic formation, right, or the uh, Gathan Purnata, is that it is a nuclear activity, right? It is something that will require fission or fusion to happen. So this the formation of the constitutionally complete atom uh, would happen through the fission or fusion activity, prasthapan or visthapan kriya द्वारा. Right? It is not something which is happening through chemical or biological activity. It is actually happening through a nuclear activity. So its formation would be happening at the time of formation of atoms, right? When I asked Babaji about that, he also said that this is not a activity that actually happens. Uh, there is no involvement of humans for sure in this. Second thing, it is not something uh, uh, which is happening right now, right? It happens it happens when the earth is in its formative stage, right? So that is my information on this.
Yes, we are good. You have told that it is not a chemical process, rather it is uh, prasthapan inside the nucleus. So it has
Yeah, it
happened like
is.
that. Mhm.
Yeah, and look at it even now. I mean, whatever nuclear reaction that humans are able to basically perform, the how much energy it requires. So it is not something that is happening on the surface of the earth for sure, in a natural manner.
Another question is like, uh, it means you just use the word. It was there even before this animal kingdom or the animal order came, but uh, there was not that it could project itself. That was the issue, I think. कि मतलब गठन पूर्णता पहले से थी,
हाँ,
लेकिन वो कोई स्थिति नहीं थी जिससे कि वो प्रकट हो सके.
Can I
right.
put the question in other words and then you can jointly reply? Maybe, like the question can be put like this. Uh, are the sentient atoms there even before the bodies got formed, the animal and human bodies got formed on Earth? That is the question, Ganesh bhai?
एग्जैक्टली भैया, एग्जैक्टली यही क्वेश्चन
जी
है.
जी जी
और
जी
फिर इसमें भी एक अनदर क्वेश्चन और ऐड होता है कि ये फिक्स है या ये भी चेंजिंग है. मतलब
ये
गठन पूर्ण आइटम्स फिक्स हैं या चेंजिंग है.
means their number, their quantity. Is that what you are asking? गणेश भैया?
हाँ, मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ भैया कि ये आइटम घटते बढ़ते रहते हैं या फिक्स
हाँ,
रहते
मतलब
हैं.
their number, okay,
नंबर, यस
their
यस.
number, yeah, right. Yeah.
So one thing I asked, that what happens when the constitutionally complete atom गठन पूर्ण परमाणु तैयार हो गया और उस एक पुंजाकार के साथ में, बट उस आकार का शरीर अभी तक तैयार नहीं हुआ है शरीर. तो what does it do? He says what he said was जीवन के लिए काल कोई बाधा नहीं है. देर इज नो कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ टाइम फॉर जीवन. काल इज एक्चुअली एसोसिएटेड विद बॉडी. सो फॉर अ it waits till the body becomes available for it to control, for it to drive, right? So that is when it basically starts expressing consciousness. So that is my understanding of it. Second is how many of them. So one of the thing that is there, this one thing that Babaji actually said was कि इस पूरी धरती के ऊपर जितने अ, चैतन्य इकाइयां हैं, उनको करने के लिए एक मुट्ठी भर रेत के बराबर एटम की आवश्यकता होगी, right? It's only a very small amount of matter that is needed. So how many atoms are going to be constitutionally complete? This gets determined by this gets determined existentially. Just like how much of biological order has to happen. All of material order does not convert into biological order. Only the crust of the earth, there is some part of that basically gets converted into participates into biological order, right? Rest of them actually remain to be material order only, right?
In other words, भैया, can it be said that Jivan atoms are available in sufficient quantity on Earth? As many number of bodies that can be formed and can stay on this Earth, they will not run short of Jivan atoms.
Yeah, they will not. And yeah,
जी,
so it's basically that is always there. Yeah, there is abundance in existence for everything. Yeah,
right, समृद्धि है.
संत,
बाकी सब चीजों में भी है तो इसमें भी है.
संतुलन के अर्थ में हम इसको समझ सकते हैं.
right. Yeah. Also, he also said that it is not necessary that अ, एक धरती के जो गठन पूर्ण परमाणु हैं वो इसी धरती के द्रव्य से बने. दैट इज नॉट ऑलवेज, दैट इज नॉट नेसेसरीली so. So all the atoms which became gatan purn, they did not they are not necessarily out of the matter of this earth only. So it's possible that constitutional completeness happened elsewhere and those jivans actually came over here. Yeah. But all this is somewhat in the speculation domain for me. Yeah. शिल्पा दीदी?
हाँ भैया, so like you said कि when the earth was formed, then all this already became established, ना? This is what you said? All these planes, मतलब at the time of formation of earth only. So does it
At the
mean that
time of
does it
at the
mean कि
time
they
of
हाँ.
formation of Earth, all the atoms got established. All the atoms
So
got
so
like
like Dev Manav, when did they, मतलब how did it happen? Like Dev Manav, सबसे पहले Dev Manav कब आया होगा? Or was it always there? Like you're saying, maybe that kind of a Jivan came from some other realm. I mean,
no. That is not what I said. I said
okay.
that जीवन का गठन पूर्ण होना जो है वो इसी धरती से के मैटर से हुआ हो ये जरूरी नहीं है. That is one thing. Other thing about the development definitely happened on this earth. It's this earth only got developed in, and this earth itself will be basically establishing itself in the form of अखंड समाज सार्वभौम व्यवस्था. इसी धरती के ऊपर जीवन जो है वो देव मानव दिव्य मानव पद में जाएंगे. राइट.
Okay. Bhaiya, my mouse is got stuck. So like, can you just unmute? Sorry, can you mute me? Because I'm not able to just see my cursor on this.
Okay, just a minute. Let me. I'm not sure whether I have the permission for doing that.
Yeah, I have done it.
Okay.
भैया वन मोर थिंग इज रिलेटेड टू दैट कि एक तो बात आप ये रख रहे हैं कि ये ऑलरेडी था और वो इसके अंदर बाद में जब स्थितियां पैदा हुई जीव अवस्था आई तो ये एक तरह से रिफ्लेक्ट हो पाया या प्रोजेक्ट हो पाया. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि क्या ये इसकी यात्रा वो वाली यात्रा नहीं है कि भी ये पहले पदार्थावस्था और प्राणावस्था थी उसी में से निकल के बना या पहले से एग्जिस्ट कर रहा था. क्योंकि इससे एक दो अलग चीजें निकल के आती हैं कि इसकी जो प्रॉपर्टीज हैं अगर ये पहले से था और फिर इसमें गया तो इसके अंदर जो गुण होंगे वो अ, इस पदार्थावस्था के गुण नहीं होंगे. अभी मैं पाठक भैया के साथ इसी विषय पर बात हो रही थी तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये यात्रा जड़ से यात्रा है इसीलिए इसमें जड़ के गुण हैं. अब ये जड़ के गुण इसमें इसलिए हैं क्योंकि इसने ये यात्रा की या ये जड़ के संपर्क में आया तो इसलिए इसमें ये गुण है. थोड़ा सा इस पे और अगर आप यू हैव. यस 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 भैया, आई थिंक यू गोट द क्वेश्चन.
Yeah. So basically it is clear that जड़ में ही विकसित होकर चैतन्य हुआ है. Right. But to say that it has happened from this very material, that is not necessary. That's all I am saying. So it is able to recognize the material nature. Yes, it is so. It's not basically all that is being said is that जड़ और चैतन्य जो हैं वो essentially एक ही material से बने हैं. मैटर
And
उनका
additionally,
बेसिकली.
and additionally, what is said is कि जड़ परमाणु जो है वो अणुबंधन और भार बंधन से मुक्त रहता, ऐसे युक्त रहता है. एंड चैतन्य बनने के बाद में वो आशा बंधन से युक्त हो जाता है, अणुबंधन और भार बंधन से मुक्त हो जाता
Right. So basically matter is essentially the same. That is the reason why it's चैतन्य जो है वो जड़ को भी पहचानता है. Looks like we will do the continuation of this discussion in the next session. Next session, अगले सेशन में हम लोग नेक्स्ट चैप्टर को पढ़ेंगे. राइट संजीव भैया?
है. जी, we can do. Unless Krishan bhaiya has raised his hands, if you
कृष्ण
want
भैया
to
का रेस. हाँ.
briefly, briefly we can see. If it's a brief question, we'll take. If it is long, we'll carry over to the next question. Krishan bhaiya, please.
जो हम भ्रांत पद चक्र की बात कर रहे हैं भैया, तो यहाँ पर एक जीवावस्था है और एक भ्रांत मानव पद है. तो ये
हाँ.
यहाँ पर क्या है कि जो भ्रांत मानव गया है वो जीवावस्था में जा सकता है एक वो थ्रेशोल्ड है या कोई बाउंड्री पॉइंट है, जैसे अगर मैं सोचूं कि अभी नेक्स्ट बर्थ जीवावस्था में भी हो सकता है, या जीवावस्था में है तो वो भ्रांत मानव पद में, वो एक क्या थ्रेशोल्ड है, क्या बाउंड्री पॉइंट है?
आई थिंक कोई किसी की रास में बहुत आसक्ति हो सकती है, वही एक कारण हो सकता है, राइट? देर इज नो इरिवर्सिबल ट्रांजिशन इन विद इन अ प्लेन। तो वो है कि सामान्यतः ऐसा मानते हैं कि भोगों के लिए भी जो मानव का शरीर है वो सबसे ज्यादा उपयुक्त है। सो नॉर्मली भोग के लिए जो है कोई जीव शरीर को कि में जाएगा ऐसा संभव नहीं है। पर फिर भी किसी की ऐसी मान्यता हो ही सकती है कि है ना, उसको जीवों के प्रति आसक्ति इतनी ज्यादा है तो वो जीव पद में चलता उसका उसका एक बन जाता है। सो देर इज नो irreversible threshold, so to say, but it is a state of decline only, I would say. Yeah. थोड़ा और सोचेंगे इसके बारे में।
जी, मतलब बहुत रेयर केस में दिखाई देता है फिर ऐसा तो।
हाँ बिल्कुल, सामान्यतः ऐसा नहीं होगा।
जी जी जी, ठीक।
ठीक है जी। सो थैंक यू एवरीवन फॉर ज्वाइनिंग, एंड नेक्स्ट वीक वी विल स्टार्ट विद द नेक्स्ट चैप्टर, परमाणु में विकास, which is a continuation of this.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, everyone. See you next
Thank you
week,
everyone.
same
Namaste.
time.
थैंक यू।
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.